Amen, sister. Did you guys have a happy New Year?
hmm
I did. I was in bed before midnight.
Oh man,
I got
daddy
a
problem.
3-month-old. Daddy man.
Yeah. Oh man, how's the little one doing?
He's good. He's good. If he wakes up tonight, we're recording live right now. Something new on YouTube. We're doing Google Plus Hangouts live. So if you see this and you're awake at 9:10 on Monday night, by all means join us.
Hey,
He
once
might
we
come
get all
down.
these technical hurdles nailed down, we'll start tweeting out when we're going to do this. You guys can jump on with questions or whatever, and we can do it a little more
Yeah.
interactively.
And I
That would
think
be
after I think
fantastic.
I think after tonight's posting of the preseason, we're gonna have a lot of people wanting to jump in on these calls,
Oh
on these
man, y'all gonna be
sessions. So
angry as shit when you hear this.
it's gonna be a good year.
So much fun already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, admin, we're all stoked for South Florida. What we've been sort of seeing that there's been a lot of changes in the circuit. You guys have been busy over the winter. What can we look forward to this year?
So yeah, a lot of things have been changing. A lot of things have been changing with feedback from the players. So some of the things discussed at the Rule Summit, which will become public in the next week, is just the changes to the rule book. Some of those changes, other than just making sure that everybody has access to this on the games, we'll be publishing the rule book through the Amazon bookstore for free, iTunes bookstore for free. We'll be doing videos and things like that later in the year. But we're trying to make it easier for folks to gain access to the rule book so they have it on site. So if you forget to print it out, you'll have it. But rule changes, there's a couple major ones, not that affecting the gameplay, but more so focused on just, I guess, maintaining the peace. We had a lot of people tell us that our warning system wasn't as up to speed as it should have been, so we've implemented basically yellow card, red card system. So we ask all captains and players to just take a look at that. We've done a better job of breaking down leagues and tournaments and what rules exist here and there. And then some of the other big things that we got into is this initial seedings, where in 2012 we basically, for most events, majority of the events, almost all of them, except for maybe a 2 or 3, we would ask captains to vote on teams to precede them to initially have the initial ranking of a tournament. And it didn't work as well as we wanted to. We looked into doing voting, private voting, public voting, and we noticed a lot of teams got published because although they might have names like spoiler alerts, it turns out that that roster was a combination of super teams. Or folks would rank teams at the very bottom just because they despise that team personally. We wanted to get rid of that completely. So we've released a methodology of how to seed for circuit events. I won't get into the math. I won't get into everything behind it. It's all documented, all transparent on the structure of the circuit document, and I invite you to read that, especially if you care to see why your team is ranked at what position. But also, because of that new methodology, we now have something we've never had before, which is an official ranking system. So we'll get into that later, but those are some of the big changes coming down the pipe.
Those are big.
Yeah.
Legitimately.
So, I mean, one other little thing we did is like, pool play games are always 5 innings, but we always had a max limit time of like 50 minutes. Well, we just went ahead and made it 60 because a lot of folks felt like they were rushed to get the even 5 innings in. Yet for whatever reason, we'd always get the 6 innings in 60 minutes, unless, of course, it went to overtime. So very minor changes like that benefits you without causing too much stress as far as gameplay, but, we're still playing 3 balls, 4 balls, 3 strikes, 3 fouls. We're still playing with the orange ball. So
Speaking of orange balls, I got our team's new shipment of practice balls in the other day. They're looking nice.
Nice.
Psyched for that. How are we going to be fixed for balls this season, Admin?
we're good. So we've already sold out. We have
Of course.
not what I expected in the first week, but we had the reserve for all the events up until August, and then we had a lot to sell on the site. And we've partnered with Stamps.com to help us with our postage and mailing, and we sold out. So we've already made the shipment, and we're gonna be good to go. We're looking at having a lot more in the future to sell online, and then we're also looking to sell on site because people want them. So that's what we're gonna keep bringing in.
Does Stamps.com sponsor the First to Third podcast?
No, not
Well, they
not
should
yet.
because they sponsor podcasts, and I
They
can do
do.
a beautiful live read letting everyone know why they should use stamps.com, why you're going to go to the post office. It's super crowded. Totally sucks.
Hey, someone tell Adrock that he's a moron and to accept the hangout invite. I
I
gotta
did.
say it publicly. The one from Tim.
I
Tim
did.
is Tim is our new social chairman. Everybody knows him as McNugget. He is the
I was
social.
really stoked that
McNugget!
McNugget was going to be on here when I
Me
saw it. It
too.
was total fake out.
Maybe we'll be adding him in the near future, but he's
Absolutely,
kicking ass
that'd be
for
great.
us, doing a lot of things social media wise. So if you ping the company on Facebook or Twitter, you're not talking to me anymore.
I think I'm really excited about some of the rule changes. I think that the warning system is going to hopefully keep everything more fun for everyone and not as stressful, because I think sometimes people just take it to that next level and it doesn't need to be done. Will this be perfect? Will it be awesome the first tournament? Probably not. People are probably going to be pissed off, but there definitely needs to be a way that you can track warning, so then you can tell a captain or tell someone and then calm it down, because everyone pays money to travel to play kickball. I don't want to get in a fight. It is just kickball, but I'm paying money to go hang out with my friends and play and compete. Don't make it a bad time.
I agree, and I think a lot of times people get fired up in the heat of the moment and they don't realize they're being an asshole. And it's nice to have a officially sanctioned way to say, "Hey, you're being an asshole, so crank down, bro,"
Yeah.
and
And I,
give them a yellow card. And go
and I
from
think
there.
it'll give the refs a little bit more, not a backbone, but they'll have something more to say than like calm down, because people don't listen to that. But if they warn somebody,
I agree.
most people will shut up.
So
But
if you're this, I mean, obviously this affects not only players but captains. So at the rule book, and you can't really see with the deflection, but you will receive points. So essentially a yellow card for a serious instance of conduct described in Rule 77221, which breaks down what exactly that is. You'll get a point for getting a yellow card. So we can warn you with the yellow card, and if you get 2 yellow cards, it's just like in soccer. You're going to receive a red card, and what that red card means is you're going to see a physical red card, and you're going to sit your butt down. And not only are you going to get points, and you might be escorted from the game or from the tournament, but this also affects your captain. So we're making sure everyone is held accountable for their players, and just put more emphasis on let's keep peace, play the game, and not just have an all-out brawl because of something that happens. And obviously, a lot of folks say, well, I'm arguing because the refs are getting it wrong. We're going to continue to do everything we can in our powers to make sure our refs are the best refs we can find, and that when you show up to these events that you don't have to worry about the refs. They're going to be well taken care of.
Which you guys have done a tremendous job of, and I have a beef with anyone who says otherwise.
Me
The
too.
fact that you can fully staff any of these tournaments with referees is standout work. That fact that you've staffed all of them is amazing, and the fact that you've put competent refs in the right spots, it's awesome. I mean, are they going to get it right every time? Obviously not. It's hard when like most of the people who would be your first pick of refs are playing. That makes it even more difficult. And the fact that you guys have done such a good job, and that we've had so many like awesome people step up and take pride in a really hard job is, I think, really admirable. One of the things I'm psyched about for the circuit.
I appreciate that, and we're going to do everything we can. Like I said, rule book out for everybody and their mother to be looking at. Video, we have a new officiating guide, so everyone has access, to kind of see what we're training the refs on. And I should definitely mention that if you can't travel to an event with your team, come to the events, have fun, and make money. We pay our refs at these events. You know the rules, and if your team doesn't qualify for New Orleans, we pay a nice payment for you to come to the event, have a blast, and we want to make sure that the best tournament in the country, Circuit Cup Championship, November, New Orleans again, on a Saturday, mind you, has the best rep.
Buddy.
So, yeah, we're looking forward to it. One thing I did not point out that I probably should, this will make DeMattis really sad. We have eliminated the concept of level 1 and level 2 pitching. That is no longer the case. What we basically call it now is you're going to have circuit level pitching or social level pitching, where circuit level pitching is 2 bounce and social is a couple other things. Mainly for the leagues we run. In a couple leagues, people want to play with a modified social rulebook. And we tried the one bounce, and we got a lot of negative feedback. We talked about it at the Rules Summit. No one really screamed bloody murder when we said we wanted to get rid of it. So we got rid of it. And that's going to be something we're going to see. None of the event managers seem to care as well. So there is no more level 1, level 2. It's circuit pitching across the board. So what you see on the East Coast is what you're going to see in the West Coast, and ultimately you'll see at the Cup.
I think that's helpful.
Yeah, right
It
on.
should be good.
I mean, honestly, I don't really remember the difference. I played a few tournaments that were one bounce. I mean, I started playing, 2007?
Yeah.
And I don't remember there being a difference. If anything, it seems like it's way harder to get on base now than it ever was then. But I think that's probably just because everyone's much better and the pitchers are much better. But I remember
probably playing against now versus 2007 is a little higher.
Yeah. Have you ever watched video from back then?
Just watch video from the Virginia Beach tournament. It was hellacious. You couldn't kid it.
Terrible. Oh, God, it was so bad. I can't believe it. I'm so glad we don't have that much video from then because it would be so embarrassing.
And I'm glad we're recording the fact that
leagues.
Ad-Rock's still not here.
Oh, I was going to say, I just watched the social leagues around my area, and then I know what bad kickball looks like. Not circuit.
Not circuit. Oh, well. So yeah, there should be a lot to come. Again, we invite everybody to look at the rule book. The rules committee did a great job of keeping us honest, correcting our spelling errors, clarifying on things that were in the rule book from over the years we just missed. So thanks again, guys, on the rule book committee for helping us generate such a wonderful product. And we hope we can get other leagues in the country to at least explore the rule book and to incorporate circuit into their leagues. So ultimately, they come to an event. And come to the Cup as well. Because there's a lot of really good kickball teams out there, and we think our rule book is the best one out there, and we think if they get a taste of it and come to an event and experience everything that comes with the circuit event, the parties on Friday and Saturday night, Sunday fun day, just the people in general, they're going to have a blast, and we'll see them again soon.
Hear, hear. Well, listen, man, I one thing that I do that I would ask everyone out there to do is, when I'm out, whatever on Facebook or Reddit or out talking to people out and about, and I hear some people mention that they play kickball and they like it and they're serious about it. I always mention. I've had people ask me, like, where do I get professional grade kickballs? I've had that question actually a couple of times, and I say kickball365.com. The best balls, and check out their rules. It's the best for if you want to play competitively, and it just makes the most sense, even if you are just want to mess around and have a good time. So
yeah, and I'll give the plug. If you have a league in your area and you're not satisfied and you're willing to start another job by helping and working with somebody like us, we're obviously here to help you launch a league in your area. Or even if you just want to kind of practice with our rule book on a pickup game, we'll help you organize one. That's why we're here.
Once you go circuit, you won't want to play anything else.
We hope so. We definitely hope so. So we still don't have Mr. Ad-Rock in the room, but
he's a dead stick. Come on. So, admin, what tournaments are new to the calendar this year? Are there any, or are we just improving on what we had last year?
So we have announced our complete schedule is thisiskickball.com. So go there, print out the schedule, look for flights now, get the cheapest flights. The dates are set for a majority of them. Virginia Beach is the only one right now that is kind of up in the air in terms of a date. But, we have added Denver, Colorado, which is in August, I believe. And we have added Kansas City, the Kansas City Kickball Open, Kansas City, Missouri, in June.
Nice.
So 2 really cool cities. A lot of talent from the Midwest is hopefully going to go to Kansas City. And then Denver, we've got a lot of really good talent coming out of Denver. And we're really looking forward to having a lot of West Coast teams come out. We've had a lot of teams tell us, hey, we always go to this event every year. We're looking to change it up. What do you got? Well, we've got 2 new tournaments that are really good. We've got a bunch of events that are on holiday weekends that, might be a nice little opportunity for you to go to. Like July 4th weekend, go to San Diego. see the fireworks near the ocean, have a blast, do whatever you want. I have no idea what's playing behind me.
Mostly just
DC, if you
flashing
can't make it
lights.
July 4th weekend, you go the weekend after that. So we definitely invite you to check out the full schedule. If you want to go to the Cup in New Orleans, you have to go to one of these events to get a better seed. If you can't make it and you're watching this video for the first time and it's midway through the year, you can apply as a wild card as soon as May 1st this year. We've always done it in September. This year we're going to launch it early. May 1st, if you already know you're not going to make an event, apply as a wild card, and you can learn all about that at the website as well.
Have you heard anything from the DKBC kids about the Denver Open? Remember our battle for the boot buddies?
Not yet. I hope they come. There's a lot of really good talent in Denver. Go Kickball's got a really good scene. I'm not too familiar with Waka's scene up there, but I would assume they have some presence. Actually, I know they have a presence. I just don't know how big it is these days.
DKBC.
They got some really good videos.
They certainly do.
Battle for the boot.
Yeah. So it'll be good. And then I got to take a moment to thank our sponsors. We've got Enterprise. If you're traveling to any one of these events and you want a cheaper rate on a rental car, you want to get a van for the team, use our code. You can find out information on any of the circuit event sites. And then obviously Fine Designs, which is a great company that does on-site t-shirt apparel. They'll be at every event this year. So if you want a custom shirt with the event's logo, we had that in New Orleans. We're going to have it at every event. Majority of all the events in 2013, so it'll be pretty cool.
That was really neat.
Yeah, they were great.
Yeah.
We had a lot of really positive feedback. A lot of folks were, concerned about the price, but they print the shirt on site. You design it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
All the events are going to have the teams on the back, so it worked well. And then, of course, Fireball Whiskey, they freaking rock. They're our referee sponsor of the year. All of our reps are going to be rocking awesome jerseys. I'll show one later, but thanks again to the sponsors.
Excellent. Well, that's great news. Good, nice developments on the sponsorship front.
Yeah, thank you.
So you guys, you start practicing for SFKO yet?
Michaela, when's practice? February or something?
February, yeah. We have 2 in February starting.
That's the way to
OSC
do it.
will be there. There's a lot of teams going to South Florida. Some really good teams, especially based on the pre-rankings. But we will see. I don't know what that is, so I'm just going to turn that crap off. So, yeah, it's going to be we're ready to practice, but right now it's 24 degrees outside, so not so much.
Yeah. Ugh. I don't like winter.
We've been lucky. We haven't gotten done. Well, I say lucky in terms of getting out and running around playing kickball, in that it hasn't dumped snow on us.
Mm-hmm.
But and it has really been cold until recently. So it's been a pretty mild winter.
I hope that stays, and it's not like a precursor to a big dump of snow coming in.
I hope we get pounded, because I am trying to. We're going snowboarding in a couple weeks, and I just got the all clear from my surgeon to resume contact activity.
Yeah. How are you?
Yeah, we haven't seen you in a while.
Earlier. I'm so sorry. How are you?
I'm okay. So I wonder if you can see this.
Holy barf,
So,
dude.
as you may have read from my post on the message board, I broke my radius and ulna in my left wrist at Circuit Cup, sliding into a base. Went to the emergency room, got x-rays. It was definitely broken, came back, had surgery where I had a plate and 8 screws put in my the radius of my left arm.
Oh my
and it's healed up pretty nicely. I've been happy with it. I got a lot of range of motion back. I can do all kinds of stuff, and so getting strength back. And the surgeon today just told me that I have no more restrictions, so I can start lifting weights and throwing kickballs and trying to do push-ups and stuff again. So
That's fantastic that you're doing well, but oh my god.
yeah, dude, it was pretty brutal.
How did you fly home?
Well, so how the day went was, this happened during pool play. So sliding to a base, I folded my hand under like that, and definitely knew it was broken immediately. Got a pinch runner, made a splint out of Easy Power Can Crusher beer koozies, and an ace bandage. Finished out the day, went to dinner, and then went to the emergency room where they put me on a lot of powerful drugs and reduced it manually, which means they pulled it and moved it around and stuff. Sent me home. Consulted with a surgeon like a week later, had surgery, and I've been sort of rehabbing ever since.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah, but I should be.
Pullers aren't strong. Holy crap.
Yeah, we do what we can. So I don't
have to slide.
I'm gonna continue to slide. So you guys will like this. When we got to the emergency room, they were asking me about it and like writing out my chart, and I made the admitting nurse put in my chart that I was safe on the play.
Cheers to that.
That was awesome. He was safe, guys. He's safe.
I was safe. Was it worth it? Yeah, well, it's better than being out.
Word. Oh,
Very
man. Cool. Gosh, I can't believe I didn't think to ask earlier. I'm glad you're doing better. Yay.
But yeah, it's doing really well. I mean, it remains to be seen whether I'll be able to play catcher in South Florida, just because I don't have the articulation yet to throw a chest pass. But I might be able to do good enough back there to back up Bryant. But we got plenty of catchers on this team, Bryant and Jay Hart, so they should be fine there.
Yeah, I was gonna say we haven't done our show since before the Cup, so.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about the Cup.
We did.
My apologies to the Meatballs. I talked to them about coming on after the Cup, and then we all sort of just like disappeared for the holidays. We are not professionals. But as you at home probably know, if you're enough of a kickball nerd to be watching our program, the Meatballs did repeat as Circuit Cup champions in a absolutely epic 11 inning battle with OSC.
Longest game on record that I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, that's really
longest
something.
Game of the circuit.
It still hurts.
Where's the video, you ask? Yeah, it's there in the interwebs. We're still working on it.
All right. Well, I'll be looking forward to it. I wish I could have been there. I was in the emergency room, obviously, but.
Yeah, but congrats to the Meatballs.
Yes, congrats, Meatballs.
They are excellent. So we'll get those guys on the show shortly. I mean, they love to do it. We'll get Chaz on there. But yeah, Circuit Cup, man, crushed. Absolutely a blast. We had so much fun. Incredible competition. Super well organized. We loved it.
Great event. Great parties. Like the social scene leading up to it was absolutely fantastic. I enjoyed every one of the places we were able to go to, and the fields were awesome. The competition was great, and I mean, I had a blast. I wish the outcome had been different, of course, but I mean, what are you going to do? But it was a great last tournament champion. It definitely was a championship. Anybody going there could tell what kind of a game, what kind of a championship tournament this was.
Yeah, we're. I can actually tell you right now, today, January 21st, fields will be the same. We have room to expand at those fields, so we will definitely be there next year. The tournament is on a Saturday. I mentioned that earlier versus Sunday. So plan ahead now, especially if you're a West Coaster and you always had a concern, making you aware now. So you've got 11 months to take care of any travel details. We'll obviously change up the social scene. We'll still do a party on Thursday night, still do a party Friday night. Probably not as crazy as we did this past year because Friday night was a lot of fun. And then Saturday night we'll do the after party, and Sunday we'll do a Sunday fun day. But definitely make plans now. We'll be announcing hotels in a couple months, but plan ahead. You'll be good to go.
The host hotel was awesome. Great location.
Yeah, it was good. We had a lot of fun. But there's so much to see in New Orleans, and a lot of the feedback we saw was they stayed every hour of the day. They were either in their hotel room or on Bourbon Street. And that city, there's so much more to New Orleans. We're going to do everything we can in 2013 to kind of get you to explore the city a little more than just Bourbon. We are going to hit up Bourbon quite a bit. But there's a lot of really good food places, a lot of really good bars outside of the quarter. We're not going to ask you to drive to these places or to take cabs, but we'll be creative with what we do. So just
We
stay
did
tuned.
a graveyard tour, which was awesome, and then a ghost tour, which was really cool while we were down there.
Very cool.
So those are fun things that you can do that don't involve Bourbon Street.
Yeah.
Not for nothing, but I went to a party on a riverboat years back with there were two bands. There was like a jam band playing in like the sort of on boat venue downstairs, and then during the breaks in their sets there was a brass band playing on the deck upstairs. So you just go back and forth.
That's
and
awesome.
It was one of the most fun times I've ever had in my entire life. And I don't know what the logistics of doing a party on a riverboat are, or what the organizational headaches would be, but it was absolutely unbelievably fun.
Could you imagine kickballers on a boat?
Dude.
Yeah, it's actually been something we looked at in DC. Not the same atmospheres down on the bayou, but we looked into it at New Orleans, and we kind of did the same thing. Can you imagine all 500 of us, or even 200 of us, secluded on a boat, live bands, beads, music?
Man overboard, girl overboard, man overboard. That's what would happen.
Yeah, and Barkus wasn't even down there, I don't think.
I don't know, dude. They planned pretty well for that stuff in New Orleans. And
That's
by
true.
plan pretty well, I mean if you fall overboard, you're on your own.
Yeah, right? Wear a life jacket. No, that would be cool. I mean, that sounds like a great time.
It'd be a lot of fun. That's for sure. So we're gonna look into different options. We'll have a lot of really good sponsors again. We gave out so much free stuff in New Orleans: shirts, cups, koozies, keychains.
The sunglasses were the biggest hit.
Sunglasses. Yeah, we gave out a lot. We're still gonna do the award ceremony. The first to third host plus Adrock, if he ever shows up, we'll be doing the award ceremony. We'll figure it out when and where. We're gonna do a lot of competitions throughout the year for other awards, and we'll have some things to assist us with having better awards to reward your performance on the field. And stay tuned for future announcements regarding that. But we're going to do as much as we can to track the players and track, the social aspect of it: parties, pictures, videos, and then at the end of the year maybe do a photo contest or something like that. We'll see. There's a lot coming down the pipe in 2013. It's going to be a hell of a year.
It's exciting.
Outstanding. Well, guys, let's talk about 2013 for the podcast and what kind of stuff we want to do this year. One thing that we've started experimenting with tonight is live streaming our podcast to YouTube. So we didn't tell anyone about it, so there's nobody watching it. But in the future, you'll be able to participate with us live on the air. If you want to jump on and talk to us, you'll be able to do that. And I think that'll be a lot of fun. Obviously, you guys can tweet at us questions that you might have. That's always been fun interaction. One thing I'd love to do. We're going to have videos in the background that, it looks terrible though, right?
Yeah, of course.
One thing that I've really wanted to do is to get your highlight reels and, get that on the show. I mean, if you guys had a great play that you caught on video, send us the raw footage. You can send it to me at nyshkickball@gmail.com. You can send it to admin. Admin, what's your email for the show?
So something we'll be announcing in the next couple of weeks, but if you have any videos that you want us to hype and get out to a much larger audience, we can do Dropbox or email, whatever you want to do, but send the emails or at least the notification to the social team at Kickball365. And to do that, just send an email, social@kickball365.com. Tim and everybody else working with us will work with you to help get your video short and sweet and to the point, and we'll obviously, like Oakley said, release it on the podcast, put it on our YouTube channel so everybody and their mother can see it. There's a lot of different ways, but yeah, definitely send them in. It's going to be great.
We have a First to Third Facebook page. We have Twitter. Kickball365 has Twitter. You have no excuse for not being in touch with your awesome videos. Let's get them out there and let's get excited about it. We'll be doing a few segments, and we'll have news from around the country. We're gonna do a lot of fun stuff this year. So this is gonna be a fun year.
Definitely a fun year.
We'll still be on YouTube. We'll still be on iTunes with the audio for folks who don't want to watch but they rather listen. We'll try to keep it entertaining, short and sweet, to the point.
And for all you guys,
ramble on.
And for all you guys that have tried the iTunes feed and maybe not been super stoked with the sound quality, I'm gonna try to I've been trying to master this podcast recording thing a little better. So I'm gonna try and get a little higher quality audio feed so it sounds nice in your ear.
Much
Because
appreciated.
we have great voices.
We
Who
do.
doesn't want to hear the quality of our voices?
Buttery smooth voices. Michaela, sing a few bars.
I don't sing.
Come on. Rap, maybe.
No.
By the end of the year, we'll get you to sing a song for us.
Maybe. I'm better at lip singing to Call Me Maybe like we did last year.
All right, we
good
can do that.
at
Did you guys see the highlight video I made?
The NYC New York Shower Hammers video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't posted it on Facebook or on the message board yet.
Oh, okay, I was like, no, I missed it.
I'll put the link in the chat here. Evan, what do people see? The people who we're broadcasting to, do they just see the video or do they see the chat as well?
They see the video they see the main video and then everybody that's in the room. So we actually should have a couple of viewers if they join us come up as well as guests.
What about a screen share? Would they see that?
Yeah, I believe so.
Hmm.
Are you gonna try YouTube?
Yeah, you want to try and see if this works?
Might as well. It's the first episode of the year.
What the hell, right?
Who cares?
Yeah.
Always.
So tell. All right, what do I want here? Desktop 1.
Yeah, look at that little screenshot.
Working?
Yeah, it's working
Oh, yeah.
on
We'll
Vimeo.
see. Yeah, I got kicked off of YouTube for copyright violations.
That's why you work with 365.com.
You get audio?
No audio, and it's crazy lag. I guess because it's trying to process the video at the same time as So it's basically
What happened? It's drowning you out.
Yeah,
Does it work?
not really.
All right.
I
Yeah,
hear me
another time.
Another time. Well, how about since our fourth member of the podcast has disappeared, cannot join us for the evening. Bless you.
Bless you.
I had mentioned it earlier. Let me get myself prepared for what I'm about to say. So I had mentioned it earlier that throughout the year last year, we had a freedom to develop. The event managers had the freedom to develop their own process to seed teams going into an event. It worked. Sometimes it worked, but we never achieved something that we thought was the best and most accurate way to kind of, I don't know, rank the teams for the events. We almost felt like we had to tweak the events or tweak the final rankings because, quite frankly, people didn't get it right. So, with that in mind, we developed what we call the methodology for seeding a circuit event. So, if you've ever heard of the ELO-based system, I'm not going to bore you with it because it was done by a physics professor. But in the structure of the circuit, we break down exactly how the equation of giving you a score is done. So first things first is if you hear my voice and this is the only thing you hear and you have issues with this, please take a moment to read through. We've broken it down in plain English as much as we can of just breaking down how we have evolved. We needed a better way to evaluate how pool play games are played and the results of those games are played, and then how elimination games are played, and how some teams treat pool play and elimination completely differently. Some teams might have 26 players on the roster, play everybody in pool play, and when elimination comes around, they drop down to 12, take a different approach on the game. So we've basically created this formula to recognize that and to apply math to build a ranking system. So with that in mind, I mentioned earlier, we're doing a ranking system. So drum roll, please. I'd like to read to you the top 25 pre-rankings for the circuit of 2013. So this is the National Tour rankings. This has no effect on Circuit Cup standings. This has no effect on the National Tour scoring, points you earn at these events. This is the pre-ranking, and then these rankings will ultimately be used to seed an event. So if you recognize these teams as showing up at South Florida, if you follow the numbers, you already be able to tell who's going to be the number 1 seed, the number 2, et cetera, et cetera. Shall I continue?
Yeah, dude.
Sure.
I'm
sure
gonna crack
people are
wise at your
dying to
expense when
know
we're done here. But
All
who
righty.
to rank.
So the number 1 team, or should we
Shocker.
start at 25, or should we just do the top 10?
nah, dude, we already know what the number 1 team is. You're not suspending
The
anyone.
number 1
Just
team
read them.
is the Meatballs. The number 2 team. Oh, I closed my thing. I'm just kidding. The number 2 team is OSC out of DC of Wocket Kickball. About a 50-point difference. Again, if you want the details of how these points go into play, read the formula. The number 3 team is JKI Deep. The number 4 team is So Fucking Good out of California. The number 5 team is the New York Shower Hammers of New York. The number 6 team, The Situation out of Virginia. The number 7 team is Flying V out of Georgia, another Kickball 365 team. Number 8, Shockwave out of Maryland, a Kickball 365 team. Number 9, Oh Danny Balls, a Noose 365 team out of Louisiana. The league launched last 2 weeks ago. They've had a lot of rain, but doing great with 7 teams in their first league.
Nice.
Number 10 is going to be Relax and Lock It Up of New York.
Oh,
Number 11.
The plot thickens then.
Number
So,
11.
merger.
Actually, it'll be Lock It Up. Sorry, I read that wrong. Sorry, it's Lock It Up. Sorry, I know
but
where I got that.
but a merger would take the higher team seed.
Correct. Number 11 would be the Super Dudes out of Wisconsin, a Musa team. Number 12 will be Cobra Kai out of Oregon, a Waka team. Number 13, I'll only go to the top 15 here. Number 13 will be Whiskey Richard out of Arizona, a naked team. Number 14 will be Panic Attack out of Virginia, who plays in KHL or KLOHR, Kickball League of Hampton Roads. And number 15, and the reason why this is included is a spoiler alert, an availables team. So that's your top 25 for the circuit preseason.
That's only 15, Abby.
That was
Oh,
15.
15. Sorry, the 15. So let me clarify before the Flame Wars begin.
If
So
people-
and they will
it
begin.
will be, and
People will be jumping in right now.
thrilled. I want people to realize that these things will change based on performance, and that's what this is all based off of, is looking literally at every game these teams played in 2012, at the games they played, at the teams they played in those games, whether they're an open team, a team that randomly showed up for an event that never decided to go to another circuit event, or if they played an availables team like Spoiler Alerts, or if they played an established team like OSC, New York Shower Hammers, etc. That's how we basically break this down, is established, availables, and open. So every team is basically given a flat ranking of 1,500, and then we look at their performance. Again, we look at every game played in 2012 to create this list. So let me give you 3 examples. Give me a moment to walk down of why is Fully Loaded so far down, why is Panic so far down, why is Whiskey Richard so high, and then why is this the case? So the reason why Fully Loaded is down so much is because they, quite frankly, did not perform at Circuit Cup. Circuit Cup was by far the most valuable tournament points-wise. So think of, we always did having circuit event scores last year. We've basically created a tournament modifier. So we want to look at every team that shows up, every team's performance throughout the year, and apply a ranking to that event. So you can actually say this event was the strongest kickball tournament of the year. Surprisingly, Jacksonville was the strongest non-circuit cup event of the year. Another strong event was Boston, which had a ranking of 213. JKO had 283, and the Circuit Cup was a 321. So that kind of gives you a scope. Again, it looks at total number of teams, the teams that are showing up, and then how well everybody does. So coming into the Circuit Cup, Fully Loaded was number 7 on the rankings, and that actually was using both 2011 stats and 2012, because we've got stats going back to 2010 if we really want it. But we're only looking at 2012 for last year's stuff, because every team changes, there's a lot of turnover. The biggest blow to Fully Loaded was they basically were not consistent with this ranking. They went through pool play in Circuit Cup 2-2. Again, biggest tournament of the year, they go 2-2. The biggest thing that happened to them was they lost to the Pounders, which is actually the third lowest team ranked in Circuit Cup according to these new rankings. So in the eliminations, we basically have a point modifier. Pool play is different than Circuit Cup, so if pool play is equal to 1 point, elimination game is 1.5. Stakes are higher, teams are playing better,
Right.
You've got more innings, etc. So in the elimination, since everything went up, what happened? Well, fully loaded loss to JKI Deep. So although it wasn't a bad loss, they were decisively beaten, and the score was 6-2. We look at those numbers. So when you're concerned about runs allowed, runs against, we're going to put that into effect of your total rankings. So basically, they shit the bed and they drop so much. If fully loaded comes into South Florida and kicks ass, their stake is going to jump tremendously, and that will change.
So I definitely understand the need to use a mathematically based system for seeding tournaments, because leaving it up to the discretion of participants or organizers or whatever opens it up to complaints about bias or unfair rankings or whatever. And I see that there's a need to do it mathematically, but flat out, this just fails the eyeball test. Like, you're looking at that, and you just know damn well that fully loaded is better than almost every team above them. And they're just one example. And we have teams that have never won an event in their career ranked high above teams that won multiple events last year.
But you've got to look at the games they won. You got to look at what their score was.
We're not going to argue about this. I understand that there's an argument to be made for the mathematical solution here. I'm just telling you that from someone who has played against these teams and has seen how they play and has watched video, this list fails the eyeball test. It's not correct. But I think it's valid for use in seeding because of how it's derived. I think it's fair for use in determining tournament seedings. I wouldn't call this like a ranking, like a power poll. You know what I mean? I don't think it describes the strength of the teams. I think it describes where they're ranked based on their performance.
Which I think is needed because you can't argue with math. If you're doing numbers and people get numbers,
that's not true. You can argue with math because everyone's math is a little bit different. For instance,
but if you're adding 1 + 1 you can't argue that it's not going to be 2.
Yeah, but you can apply different formulas to get different results. For example, Get Off My Kick is ranked ahead of Lights Out. How many tournaments did Get Off My Kick play in again?
One.
At home?
At the same time, you can view this as Get Off My Kick. That team will – I don't even know if they're going to show up again.
They're not going to. But what I'm saying is that while I appreciate the purpose and validity of the list, I think that there's going to be different rankings for different purposes.
Yeah, and we're still working with Kickball Legends to do their power poll rankings. We just felt as far as seeding for these events, we needed to do something more than of the 24 teams that went to DC Kickball, Meatballs were ranked dead last on 3 different captains' voting polls. Why?
Well, you throw those out.
That's not fair. That's not the way to do that. We can't do this. We're not going to grow as a sport if we have that sort of methodology in place.
And I definitely I don't argue with that. And I think that it's correct to use a mathematically derived formula to seed teams for tournaments. I just think that this is definitely separate from a power poll.
Yeah. So something I want to point out is we have this thing called the K factor, which quantifies the weight of the game. So what that means is we're taking, again, there's a lot of math behind this, and that's not my expertise, but I'll get through it as much as I can. The size of the tournament, the strength of the tournament, again, that's the tournament modifier, and then at the stage of the tournament play, did Team A beat Team B? Was it in pool play, or did it actually happen in elimination? So we take everything into account when we're looking at this. And again, based on performance, this list can dramatically change by the end of the week. So one that I know people will fuss at, because I've already had the conversation with one of the players, is why the hell is Whiskey Richard so far up there? People know, if they've watched this podcast, every time I pick Whiskey Richard, they never make pool play. They never make it out of pool play. So here's the thing, and this, again, of trying to understand where Whiskey Richard falls into this. Whiskey Richard went into this tournament ranked into the Circuit Cup, ranked 17th out of the 26 teams that attended. When push came to shove, they performed at the highest level at the best tournament, and they went 3-0-1. Because they went 3-0-1, they gained points at each one of those each one of those games. Ultimately, they lost to a vastly favored team in the limbs. I can't remember who they lost to. But because, bottom line, fully loaded underperformed significantly at the most important event of the year, hence their ranking. Whiskey Richard overperformed significantly. And when you couple that with this being the highest rated tournament in the 2-year history of the total rankings, in this case even just 1 year, you're going to get a lot of swing. So it'll definitely, quoting the great Eddie Chang, it'll definitely give us some folks heartburn, fail the eyeball test, but it was our goal to basically have an objective methodology in place. And if teams perform those results, and then this is where it clarifies with what the Circuit Cup seedings will look like. If you perform on the tour, you'll be given those points just like last year and the year before, and that will be your ultimate seeding. This formula will not affect that Circuit Cup seeding come at the very end of the year. So
my advice would be not to get mired down arguing with people on this. I think it's fair. It is necessary, and this is how it is now.
This is definitely how it is now.
It's fair. It's fair. It's a fair thing to do. It's the right thing to do. I agree. And my point that it fails the eyeball test is more just an observation about it rather than a comment on whether or not it should be implemented. I think it should be implemented. I think it's the right thing to do.
So anybody who sees this, we're going to release it tonight. Actually, when I get off the podcast, we'll post it to the boards. We invite you to discuss and delegate. If you don't like to post, but you are so mad and you want somebody else to post, invite a friend to the forum. We have, if you hadn't figured it out yet, we have a great new iOS app and Android app. If you want to discuss these things, you can do so from your iPhone or your Google app. It's available in the App Store. We invite you to join the discussion because we're going to have our pre-rankings a month ahead of South Florida, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
I took a break from the boards after Circuit Cup, so this is the perfect time to come back in when everything's going crazy.
Yeah, get that app. It's pretty nice. I've been using it. I really like it.
It's pretty slick.
It works. It works pretty well.
Yeah, we've been impressed with the amount of folks that have been downloading it, and in various parts of the world downloading it, which has been kind of interesting to see. But we're also, working with the guys that developed it for us to improve it. So you'll be seeing changes in the next couple months, hopefully for the betterment of your experience on the forum. We want folks to be engaged. We don't want it to become a flame war. We don't want the forum to be something where you feel like you can't even browse them because there's so much negativity. Hopefully there's actually constructive criticism and quality discussions that can take place. And, if you think you're a better team, put up and shut up. Get on the fields, beat somebody.
But before you do that, make sure to go and talk shit on the message board first. That's how you get to know people. You get in an argument with them on the message board, and then you meet them in real life, and you'll be friends immediately.
Yeah. 9 times out of 10, you like the person that you're fighting with.
That's how it always works out. Everybody's a tough guy on the internet.
So I appreciate everyone's time of walking through that. Again, we invite you to read the structured document, which explains the math behind these rankings, and we invite you to argue them profusely because these will change after South Florida. Before Best of the West, these rankings will obviously change quite a bit. But again, after each event, we won't release it immediately after because we have a couple events that are back-to-back. But you'll see a new release every month, very similar to how college football rankings are, things like that.
Nice. You guys, you've been busy.
Very much so.
All right, kids. That's a wrap. Thanks, everybody, for joining us tonight. And we will announce our broadcast time next time so you can jump on if you want or send us questions or whatever. And reach out to us on the interwebs.
Yeah, if you got a couple questions or topic suggestions for next week or next time we do the show, tweet us at us and we'll throw it on.
Boom, ship it.